Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Mat Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
Planned Parenthood becomes a big recipient of funds from ObamaCare. Your tax dollars and mine are going to support this abortion organization. I am Mat Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, ObamaCare has just recently awarded $67 million to so-called navigators. These are entities that reportedly are trying to educate people about Obamacare. And Planned Parenthood so far has already gotten $655,000 from the federal government, over and above all the other money they get from the federal government.
Yeah, this is the Obamacare Ponzi scheme at its best, or its worst, if you will. You recall during the push to pass Obamacare, there were a bunch of dealings going on behind closed doors and money exchanging hands and with unions and promises made. And, well, Planned Parenthood, of course, is one of President Obama's main cohorts here. This is an organization, the multi-billion-dollar abortion industry that the left, it's their sacred cow. So we shouldn't be surprised that our tax dollars are being funneled through Obamacare to fund this abortion monstrosity.
Yes, with the deficit that we have right now we're giving $67 million to begin with. That will be given out, offering after October 1. And these are called navigators. 105 organizations already have qualified for this, and of course that number is going to continue to grow. And these navigators are helping individuals to apply for coverage with regards to Obamacare starting October 1 and thereafter. One of the grants is $295,000 to Planned Parenthood of Montana, $214,000 for Planned Parenthood of the Heartland, and $145,000 for Planned Parenthood of Northern England. That's $655,000. The fact of the matter is that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Washington, D.C. announced just this week that it is sending $375,000 to fund Planned Parenthood abortion business. Just that one district of Columbia, $375,000 to fund Planned Parenthood. And, of course, this is going to grow. I mean, this is just the beginning. 105 entities, a number of these are Planned Parenthood. So this is not the end. This is not the fact. This is not the end of the 655,000. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, this is just unconscionable at a time when Planned Parenthoods across the country are being investigated for cooking the books and for failure to report child sexual abuse and other crimes. These are crimes we're talking about here. When states around the country are taking measures because of the corruption that runs deep and is marbled throughout the Planned Parenthood enterprise, when states are shutting down funding to Planned Parenthood, here we have this radical pro-abortion president with, who's the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius, a radical pro-abortion activist who was buddies with George Tiller the Killer, the late-term abortionist in Kansas. It never ceases to amaze me, the gall of this president and this administration in funding a corrupt organization in order to push a corrupt law that passed, this Obamacare abortion funding health care, again, hate to repeat the word, monstrosity.
Well, and Obamacare is not the only one getting the $67 million. And again, this is not the end. This is coming from the Obamacare machine. But the Arab Community Center for Economic and Social Services, $276,593. The National Hispanic Council on Aging, $646,825. The Board of County Commissioners in Pinellas County, Florida, they will get $600,000. And it goes on and on. The Migrant Health Promotion, Inc., $589,750, and the list goes on and on, $67 million. And, of course, they're going to use this in a way to be able to fund these Planned Parenthood abortion clinics. these so-called navigators are telling people, and for example, it's in the interest of Planned Parenthood to tell people about Obamacare, because Obamacare will cover abortion. It will require employers to provide abortion and contraceptions and IUDs and other abortifacient inducing devices and drugs free of charge to these women. So they get it both ways. They get the chance to basically market Obamacare, and then on the other side, they get paid from Obamacare.
Here's the administration using grants, funneling tax dollars in order to pad the pockets of President Obama's ideologically driven pet organizations. This is, this is an unpopular healthcare program, wildly unpopular healthcare program that is coming apart at the seams. It is incompetence in the passage and the drafting of it, but in the application, they cannot roll things out in time. This thing is going to be a disaster. It is derailing. So they're having to actually bribe these ideologically driven organizations in order to help try to roll this thing out. And again, I use the term Ponzi scheme. This is a massive scheme, and unfortunately, the grifters here is the Obama administration, and the marks are the American people.
Well, in this first report, of course, the $655,000 that I mentioned, these are just Planned Parenthood affiliates in Iowa, Montana, and New Hampshire, just those 3 states. Now, what about the other 47 states? And that's not counting the $300+ thousand that Washington, D.C. has announced for its Planned Parenthood affiliates there. So you add Washington, D.C. with the $655,000, we're already now past $1 million with 3 states and the District of Columbia. And we've got 47 more states potentially as targets for Obamacare. Many of those states, of course, will not fund Planned Parenthood, but this is coming from the federal government. So even though the states are not supporters of Planned Parenthood, even though they want to defund Planned Parenthood, what this will do is get around those states that are resisting Planned Parenthood and give direct federal funding to them. So this will go up into the millions and millions of dollars coming from this pro-abortion president and this Obamacare. Now, where we are in our case is we filed our lawsuit back in 2010, as you know, and now we're in the process of filing or preparing what's called the petition for writ of certiorari, asking the Supreme Court of the United States to take our case. We got the second ruling from the Federal Court of Appeals on the merits of the case. The Department of Justice wanted to have our case thrown out. They didn't want this case before any federal court of appeals, or certainly not the United States Supreme Court during a midterm election. But they failed in that defense. All of their arguments were rejected. The court reached the merits of the case wrongly, but they reached the merits, and so now we're asking the Supreme Court to take this case and get involved. And if they do, we'll be at the Supreme Court in 2014 with a decision by June of 2014.
I saw a number of liberal media outlets reporting that the Fourth Circuit had thrown out Liberty University's Obamacare case. That couldn't be further from the truth. They ruled on the merits of the case. They set it up for appeal. It moves on. We're fully expecting, frankly, based on the makeup of this court, we weren't surprised that the ruling came down as it did. We always knew, ultimately, didn't we, that in the end, Lord willing, it will be the Supreme Court that will be looking at this.
That's right. And, that's where we're headed. Whichever way this Court of Appeals ruled, that's the next step anyway. So we're glad that we got a ruling on the merits, to the dismay of the Department of Justice. They wanted to kick this can down the road. Well, it can't be kicked down the road too much longer. And now we're going to file our petition. So we ask that you pray for this case as we prepare the finishing touches on our petition, and ask the Supreme Court to take the case. And when the court comes back in session in the first week of October, shortly after that, they'll take a look at this case and make a decision whether to take it. I think they've got an interest in it, because otherwise they would have just simply given us the end of the road last year, and they didn't. 5 justices obviously think that this case is worth looking at again for the employer mandate. Go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org, for this and other cases. We're continuing to battle Obamacare, both in the courts and in the courts of public opinion and in Washington, D.C. We believe that Obamacare needs to be completely defunded. It's certainly in the hands of the House. They can defund it. You can go to libertycounsel.com to sign petitions there on this and other topics. That's one of our websites, libertycounsel.com, and there you can sign petitions there. Make sure your friends and family see them as well. It's a way for you to have your voice heard in Washington, D.C. We're going to ask Congress to defund Obamacare. And on the other hand, we're going to continue to litigate it. Continue to pray for Liberty Counsel in your prayers and your financial support. And when you do, ask for our Pastors and Patriots Action Pact. It includes this little booklet on what pastors and churches can do, and a DVD with regards to what pastors and churches can do with respect to political activity. It's time for pastors and churches to wake up and reclaim our values.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.